What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We are live on YouTube for this glorious Thursday. We go live every Monday and Thursday, 4 o'clock Central Time, and, of course, every game day as well, usually an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff. We'll be live 10:45 a.m. Central Time this Sunday for Bears Steelers. But before we even get rolling here, our guy, the man, the myth, we call him the legend for a reason. His name is Michael Horowitz. Boom! Michael, we'll get you a helmet sticker on the Bears Now Helmet Hall of Fame Club. Shout out to Mike. He says, Bear down. Got to wipe the floor with Rodgers. Nothing like the last laugh. And yeah, we're going to get into it later today, but I've come to the firm conclusion that I want Aaron Rodgers to play in this game. I want to beat him. It's the last chance the Bears will probably have to beat him unless there's some crazy Super Bowl scenario or if he plays next year and somehow they play each other, but that's unlikely as well. In fact, I don't even think it's possible given they played the AFC North this year, so he'd have to be on a different team. But, I hope he plays Sunday. He was limited today. We'll get into that as well. But a lot to get into. Shout out your city. Cullen, 3 days away from another game. Bears looking to get their 8th win out of their last 9. Kind of crazy. I get it. They haven't had a murderer's row schedule here, but it's hard to win 7 out of 8 in the NFL. So we'll see if they can do it again.
And this is not just any ordinary game for the Chicago Bears. As you mentioned, Aaron Rodgers heading back to Soldier Field for potentially the final time in his career. And listen, Michael said it best. The last laugh is the best. And could the Bears, potentially fulfill that just kind of moment for this franchise that, listen, Aaron Rodgers, no one likes Aaron Rodgers. You kidding me? The amount of stuff that this guy's done just off the field and, in terms of being a pariah and all this other stuff, he's a great football player, whatever, but the Bears fans have earned this. They're having this kind of role. This is the year, Harry, we've talked about, of redemption for the Bears, especially given kind of, some of the things they've kind of crossed off their list so far this season. Aaron Rodgers would just be a nice little cherry on top.
Yeah, he would love to get this win, especially if he plays. Luke Clark says it's my birthday. No place I'd rather be. Get the HBDs in the chat for Luke Clark. We got Tony in Sarasota, Xavier in Athens, Alabama, Mudvayne in Willow Springs, Missouri. We got Asia Robertson in Brooklyn, James Cole in Quartzsite, Arizona, Howard in St. Clairsville, Ohio. Pikeville, Kentucky is where Nick is watching. Let's go. Fayetteville, North Carolina is where Manji is watching as well. Wooddale, Illinois from Chicago, Bears fan 4807. Continue to shout out your city. Let us know where you're tuning in from, just like Jeff in Denver, Alex in San Antonio, Josue in Kansas City, Missouri, Crown Point, Indiana from Tom, Waukesha, Wisconsin from Luke, and then we got Michael in St. Pete, Florida. We got TJ with the super chat, $2. Appreciate it. He says, what would it take for a 24-hour stream?
Also Thursday Night Football.
We've only done one of those at Chat Sports. It was my guy, Mitchell Renz, when he promised if the Raiders fired Josh McDaniels, he would go live for 24 hours. He actually went live for 26 hours. It would take a lot, man. I got to be honest. I got a kid. I am married. Never say never. Maybe if they won the Super Bowl, we could do a 24-hour celebration stream, but it probably wouldn't be that night. It would be something we'd have to plan out, but I don't know. Who knows? You never know in the future. Maybe we could do some kind of charity stream or something like that, but golly, I don't want to make any promises about a 24-hour stream. We'd probably have to rotate some people in and out. I don't know if I could stay awake that long. I got to be honest. It would be tough.
Yeah, it's get ready for some Cullen After Dark on Bears Now.
When do you think would be the best time to start a 24-hour stream in terms of ability to stay awake? Would it be 7 a.m., go to sleep as early as you can the night before, get up at 6:15 and just come straight in and go live? Would that be the ideal, or would it be better to start at nighttime, but then you're not really getting that full sleep?
Yeah, I think it would. Honestly, we joke about sleeping here at the office. I think it would have to be one of those where you immediately wake up, get here, and then start streaming.
Yeah,
because then you're at least at that point fully rested, and then listen, I'm not a family man. I do not have a son and a wife, so I feel like I could pull off 24 hours. I honestly think I could. An Ironman, that whole thing, but
it would
be tough.
It would take a Herculean effort.
It would.
It'd be fun. It would be fun, but
you
never know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what the future can hold. But as far as Thursday night goes, I like Buffalo tonight. I mean, Davis Mills has done some nice things, but feels like a tough spot. I think the Bills get this one. It is in Houston, though, right?
It is in Houston.
So you never know.
5.5 spread.
Texans got a good defense. I will say this: 5.5 feels a little high on the road against that defense.
44.5 over and under.
So they're basically saying like 24-19, 25-20, something like that. So I probably wouldn't touch that game from a betting standpoint, but I think the Bills win kind of a mucked up game. These Thursday night games later into the season, they get kind of wonky. So you never know, but I'll take Buffalo.
Give me the Bills.
Cornelius, I want Aaron Rodgers to play because it will be easier.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's not the worst take. If he's not 100%, if they have to restrict some of the play calling in terms of under center stuff, like, could make that argument. Now, I would probably push back, even though Rodgers hasn't been his best the last few weeks. The first 6 or 7 games, he was actually pretty solid. I don't know, Mason Rudolph, like, he's done some good things in the past, but, like, if all things are equal, like, I think Mason Rudolph is probably a guy you'd rather face in terms of who you think you're going to stop. But I will say, I don't know if the gap is that big. Like a banged-up Rodgers at 41 years old versus, Mason Rudolph, who's kind of a decent backup. Like, I think Rodgers is better, even banged up, but it's probably not a massive gap.
Probably not. I mean, in terms of backups, where do you think Mason Rudolph ranks in the NFL, would you say?
Top half.
Top half?
I think he's a solid backup. Like,
yeah.
I'd rather have him than, like, I don't know. I'll just let's think about. Let me think about some teams here. Let me.
Would you rather have him or Drew Lock?
I view them very similar.
Okay. Would you rather have him or?
I'd rather have Tyson Bagent.
Yeah. You probably rather him than Zach Wilson, for example.
Yes.
You'd rather him than.
I'd rather have Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah. So
but he's a high-end backup. I mean, I'd rather, like, close your ears, Bears fans. I'd rather have Mason Rudolph than Mitch Trubisky. We saw that play out in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
It's
true.
Mitch got benched for Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett got hurt, and Mason Rudolph took him to the playoffs.
Would you rather have Mason Rudolph or Jimmy Garoppolo? That's like a close one, right?
Probably Garoppolo. The last time we saw Garoppolo play, it was rough, but the Raiders are just they get the worst out of everybody.
That's true.
Geno looks horrible, so I'd probably take Garoppolo. It's close, though. I'd say he's a top half backup. Like, he's a top 50 quarterback.
I'd say so.
Like,
too.
I'd rather have him than Jake Browning.
Yes, I would agree. All right, throwing up the question. Want to get your thoughts in the chat. Do you want Aaron Rodgers to play this Sunday against the Chicago Bears? It's also our live poll. 85% saying yes. We've got Frank saying yes. We've got John saying yes. We got Sean saying hi.
Shadow Boxer trying to draw me off sides, by the way. Rudolph or Fields?
As some people would say.
I mean, if I want a chance at more explosive playmaking, I'll take Fields. But if I need someone to step in and just run the offense, like, I would take Rudolph.
I mean,
it depends what you're looking for in your backup. If you want a guy that can come in and create big plays, but you don't know what you're getting from play to play in the passing game, take Fields. If you want the more just kind of drop back passer type, which I think most teams in the NFL would prefer their backup to just be like, hey, can you just run the basics of the offense? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, can you just run these basic pass concepts?
Yep.
Then you'd go Rudolph. King Cuddy in the chat, let's be honest, Rudolph is better. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I'll say this.
Neither as a starter is going to take you where you want to go.
Exactly.
I think that's the point.
I think at this point, Fields is a backup at this point.
Well, I don't even know what type of backup he is.
That's what I mean, but I'm saying that's the level of player he is.
I
He's no longer fringe starter.
wonder if moving forward, Fields, I know we've talked about this before, like Taysom Hill's not a perfect comp, but I wonder if he's just like a positionless player who also serves as the third quarterback on a team.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
What other position does he play?
I mean, can you just have you could have a wildcat package for him. You could have do you spend an offseason training him as like a big slot receiver that you have a 10-play package for?
I mean, you could certainly ask him to
He would
change
have
his
to
body
commit
type.
to he'd have to commit to doing it. Like it's not just tomorrow he's a receiver, but
It's also just I view him more as like a straight line runner than I do like an actual athlete that could be used at the skill line. But I mean, sure, like if you ask him to potentially run in a straight line, he could potentially do some things.
Could he be like Cordero Patterson, where it's like he's not great at anything, but he's kind of just okay at everything?
I think Cordell is more shifty than Fields is.
Could Fields be a kick returner with the new kickoff rule?
I don't know. They did try that in Pittsburgh, and they released in a practice.
There was rumors of that, yeah, and everybody freaked out.
I don't know. To me, Fields is
his career is
he's a backup.
Murky at best moving forward.
He's a backup.
Yeah.
You're too kind to say it. He's a backup at this
Oh
point.
no. I know he's a backup. I actually don't know how many teams want him as a backup though.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because I think most teams. Now I will say this: like if you're the Ravens and Justin Fields is available and you can sign him for cheap, I would sign Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Bills, same thing. Like there are specific teams where he makes sense as a backup, but like if your starting quarterback is Jared Goff, Justin Fields makes no sense as your backup.
Agreed.
It just doesn't. You want someone who can just run your offense. Okay, Michael. Way too much Fields talk. Did the Steelers really sign John Reese Plumlee to do spin moves to imitate Caleb? They brought him back on their practice squad, and apparently they're having him do some scout team work so their pass rushers can – it's like, I don't think you're going to find someone off the street who's going to be able to replicate what Caleb does in the pocket to spin out of these sacks. I mean, I respect Tomlin and them for trying something, but, like, we'll see if it works. That'll be interesting. I mean, TJ Watt this weekend. Caleb spin out of some TJ Watt sacks. Find out.
We'll get into the nuts and bolts of the latest injury news surrounding the Chicago Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Harry, the Bears potentially have a major problem that they're going to have to deal with, either in terms of kind of crossing your fingers and hoping maybe one of these guys gets healthy, or something in terms of the linebacking core.
Top three linebackers, just a little teaser. Edmunds, Edwards, Sewell did not practice second straight day. I would say if you're lucky, one of those guys plays. I think it's pretty close to assuming they're all going to be out, I would say. So that's no bueno for a Steelers team that's going to probably sit in a lot of 12 and 13 personnel and run the football. So
good thing you used your fourth-round pick on a linebacker.
Well, he's probably going to have to play this week.
I mean, hey.
Ruben Hippolyte, it's go time, brother.
There's ever a time.
All right. OB. Paint your nails if we clinch a playoff spot. I might just do that, OB. Why not? Gonna make fun of me? I can take it. Austin. A-Rod last ride in Chicago. My childhood is gone. FGB, though. I know it's crazy, right? I mean, he's 41 years old. I'm 32, so I grew up watching this guy torment the Bears and a lot of other teams. So we'll see. I think he's going to play. So there will be some sentimental value there if he plays. It'll be a spectacle. It'll be a spectacle. Speaking of schedule stuff, Bears-Packers Week 14 flex to 325. Colin,
get the FGBs down below.
Let's go.
Yes, but
that means the Bears are doing well.
Yeah, no, the Bears are gaining national attention.
Doing their thing.
I'll go to Anthony next as Harry's checking his phone. It says, currently wearing my brunt work boots, using Mando full body, making a prize fix lineup using code CSGH, using my Turtle Beach headset.
First of all, it's CLNS.
CLNS, just for those who are wondering.
I don't know if you're trolling or not, Anthony, but listen, if you support our sponsors, it helps us, so we appreciate it. Marcus, my birthday was last Saturday, and the Bears almost gave me a heart attack. Dude, the cardiac Bears Good, better, best, cardiac arrest. Shout out to the guy who did that super chat last week. That was spot on.
Happy belated, Marcus.
Happy belated. Get the HBDs in the chat. Ruben, appreciate the tune. Naming my son due in January, Rome. First of all, Ruben, congratulations.
Yes.
I don't know if this is your first or if you've had children before. It's the best. I got a 2.5-year-old myself. So congratulations, and please pass along to your other half that we send well wishes as we hit the home stretch here. So good vibes going your way, Ruben. Appreciate you tuning in. Decker, $10. Appreciate it. This team may not be Super Bowl ready, but if they can put a beating on Rodgers and whoop some Packers' ass in the same season, that would be pretty sweet. Happy Thanksgiving. Bear down FGB for life. Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, if what you're saying, that's at least 2 more wins. A win over the Steelers and the Packers, so that gets you to 9. Gets you pretty close to the playoffs, and, hey, you get in, you got a shot. So, yeah, I'm with you. I don't view this as a Super Bowl team right now, but I'm just enjoying the journey. Let's get this thing to the playoffs, hopefully, and let it rip.
By the way, this was the same guy that did the good, better, best.
Oh, that was Decker, wasn't it?
Decker, I got you, brother.
Decker.
I remember.
Colin. Brainiac Colin, he remembers. Jay Zilla.
Gotcha.
Dye the Baird pink if we win the Super Bowl. Kind of a random color, but, man, why not? Or I could go, like, orange navy.
We always talk about those scenarios in terms of, like, what would you do in order for your team, like, guaranteed the Bears win a Super Bowl? Like, just what would be something that you're willing to either give up, do, like, what would be something, hypothetically? It doesn't have to be anything illegal or anything crazy, but if you could guarantee a Bears Super Bowl, what would you?
I'd dye my beard any color if that meant they won a Super Bowl. That's not that big of a deal.
Oh, pink for cancer, says JJ. Yeah?
Oh, okay. Like breast cancer? Or is that like the universal cancer color? I know it's breast cancer.
I think it's breast cancer. I'm not sure if it's all cancer.
Okay.
Someone said shave the C into your beard. Should I have like C?
In my hair or my beard?
Into your hair, Harrison says.
Like the Bear C, like in the back? I'd do that for a Super Bowl. Yeah, why not? Cornelius. Now, that's not me agreeing to anything, but like hypothetically, I would do that.
Hypothetically.
Watch some all 22 on Booker. He's playing well. Yeah, he's getting in the backfield multiple times per game. They just got to finish more. They got to get the QB down, hit the quarterback. So the most impressive thing I've seen with Booker is he has put some stout left tackles on their ass. He put Orlando Brown on his ass on that strip sack. He did it last week against Christian Darrisaw. I mean, these aren't scrub players. So his power is much improved. He's still a little raw in terms of like he doesn't have a ton of different pass rush moves, but he's got a relentless motor. He's playing a crazy amount of snaps, Colin. He's playing like 85, 90% of the snaps as a pass rusher. That's a high number. Like, I mean, not everybody is Max Crosby that plays 90+% of the snaps. Most even good pass rushers are usually like in the 70s. So the fact that Book's playing like 88, 90% is pretty impressive considering he just got back a couple weeks ago. So
yeah, to me, like you take just a couple of looks at the guy, his motor just jumps off the screen.
Yeah,
in terms of that, like he's constantly.
That stood out last year. Like you could tell he didn't really know what he was doing last year, but like he's always running to the ball. Like he never gives up on plays, and you can work with that. Curtis, appreciate the 10. Harrison, Cullen, thanks for providing this free entertainment. I'll watch you guys in the bedroom, car, bathroom. Thanks for the info there. You guys deserve every tip you receive. Keep up the great work, gentlemen. Well, we appreciate it, Curtis. It is not expected or necessary. It does help us grow. I'd be lying if it doesn't. But, hopefully that means we're doing something well for people who are willing to donate. So appreciate you and everybody else watching, and that's awesome. Get the FGBs in the chat for our guy, Curtis. Shout out, Curtis.
Let's go, Curtis. Yeah, appreciate all the kind words.
Mudvayne in the chat. Sorry to cut you up. I also be on the toilet watching this stuff. Let's go.
Hey, love it.
Love it.
Love it, love it, love it. Elijah, how did you become a Bears fan, Harrison?
I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. I always kind of liked them from afar growing up. I was a huge Devin Hester guy. I was rooting for them like crazy to beat Peyton Manning and the Colts. I wasn't a big Peyton guy growing up. I've grown. I appreciate him. Obviously, he's a funny guy and all that. But and then when I started at Chat Sports, the Bears were a team that was on our radar, and I was like, let's do it. And just has naturally kind of happened. I didn't know it would happen, but it has, and it's been awesome, man. Some people know, too, I covered the Chiefs here at Chat Sports, and I literally went to my bosses and was like, hey, like, I'm all in on the Bears. That's my squad. I'd rather just focus on that, and here we are. So pretty fun stuff. So hopefully this year's been the best because they're actually winning. So, hey, man.
Yeah.
Let's get to the playoffs, shall we? That'd be awesome.
Ball on their way. Also, Mud, by the way, I didn't realize this. He's Z-Ganji, actually. So shout out to you.
Is YouTube doing that thing again where it's
I don't know.
showing the ats?
It is the ads, actually. Yes, it is. Which I don't know why they're constantly changing this stuff. But, yeah. Because I know, yeah, anyways. But, yeah, it's always FGB. So,
Isaac. I see Brisker moved to linebacker role. CJ Gardner-Johnson moved to strong safety, especially if Jaylon comes back this week. Yeah, so if their top 3 linebackers are out, I do wonder if you're going to see some like dime packages with Brisker playing more strictly in the box, Gardner-Johnson as well. The only problem is who's playing nickel, because Jaylon might come back this week. I don't think you're going to see Kyler Gordon this week. Let's say Jaylon does come back, which I think that's still 50-50 at best. He was full today, so that's good. Who's playing nickel? Is it Tyreek Stevenson at nickel? Because Jalen's not coming back and stepping in at nickel. That's not what he's doing. I don't think Nashawn Wright is twitchy enough to play nickel. Tyreek Stevenson played some safety early on in college at Georgia before transferring to Miami, so maybe you play him in the slot some. You could see Nick McLeod play some this weekend. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife, can play multiple positions. So the problem with McLeod is even though he can play nickel and outside, he's not as willing of a tackler as like a Kyler Gordon or a Gardner-Johnson. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Maybe you try Tyreek at nickel just because he is a willing tackler. He's a guy who will help in run support, and maybe you could even blitz. So Dennis Allen has an interesting quote on this stuff today that we will get to, so stay tuned.
One last thing, though, too, just from the Steelers' perspective. By the way, check out the preview with our guy, Jack Sperry.
Yeah, I did another joint preview. It's on the channel with our Steelers Talk host, Jack Sperry, after today's live show. If you go to the videos tab, you should see it.
He mentioned that, again, the Steelers play 12 personnel and sometimes even 13 personnel.
They bring a 6th offensive lineman in. They have Darnell Washington, who's 310 pounds. I mean, if I'm the Steelers, given my QB, Rodgers not being 100% or Mason Rudolph playing, I already want to run the football, and now the Bears are down potentially their top 3 linebackers. I am looking to run the football until the Bears find a way to stop it. The Bears' defensive line is going to have to play a really good game in run support. And they've been better against the run. Now, no Tremaine and TJ potentially. That's going to make it tougher. Is DeMarco Jackson shooting the gaps? We'll find out. Ken, how good is the Steelers' O-line? It's been better than I thought it would be coming into the year. Broderick Jones has actually been okay at left tackle. It's still not like super stout, though. I'd call it like an average group. It's middle of the pack. Solid, but it's not top 10 or anything like that. It's probably 15 to 20, somewhere in there. I don't know where like PFF ranks it or anything like that, but
I'll give Arthur Smith some credit, which is something I didn't think I'd ever really say. He's very understanding of what the Steelers' talents/strengths and weaknesses are in terms of their offense. And to your point, they don't have an amazing offensive line, but he puts them in a lot of really great positions. And Jaylen Warren, when he's been healthy, has been a really productive back for them.
Well, and again, I think what's helped their offensive line, especially in the run game too, is those jumbo packages we were just talking about. So that's been something they've really leaned into. They'll use all 3 tight ends with Jonnu Smith, Farrar Muth, and obviously Darnell Washington. Jarek, how worried are you about our linebacker? I'm pretty concerned. I mean, if you're out, they've been able to hold up with TJ missing a lot of time because Tremaine's been so good, and Noah Sewell hasn't graded out great, but I think in run support he's been pretty solid. But even he's injured right now, so a team that already wants to run the football, I'm pretty concerned. I think that's going to be a tough task.
Do you potentially see a scenario where the Bears go maybe 5 defensive linemen? And
that's a potential option.
like where you just
5 down linemen, 1 linebacker, and just your 5 best DBs out there.
and just try to just load up in terms of like, especially if you see the Steelers going jumbo early.
Just play 5 down linemen, play man coverage, maybe have like 1 roamer in the middle. I will say you might be able to you can probably get away with that a little bit in this game because the Steelers, whoever plays quarterback, is not mobile. So if you go 5 down linemen, you're basically just playing 1 linebacker. You can't really have a spy, but you probably don't need a spy this week. So I could see, you go Montez Sweat, Austin Booker, Jervon Dexter, Grady Jarrett, Andrew Billings. Rotate in Jonathan Ford, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, who's actually been solid on the edge at setting the edge in the run game. So, yeah, some 5 down lineman looks could be something you see this week. So, and it would already probably make some sense against this opponent anyway, considering how many tight ends they're going to utilize. So, that's a good call by you. Good call. Isaac, I say that because Steelers play 12 personnel most in the league, even over 11 only team in league. I don't know what you mean by that.
He's saying that they play 12 personnel the most, and
and they run it more than they run 11.
Yeah,
and they're going to do that even more this week, given the linebacker situation. I think they might even run 13 more than 11 this week.
I would agree.
Part of that is just their personnel. They don't have good receivers outside of DK. I mean, Roman Wilson's been okay. Calvin Austin's been okay, but yeah they want to play physical brand of football. Jay, I'm honestly very worried that our top 3 linebackers haven't practiced. Yeah, I mean, we've beat this horse down here today. Yeah, it's a concern. It's a concern. Dennis Allen's going to have to, like he has all year, work around these injuries. I mean, it's incredible, Colin. It seems like I saw a couple tweets going around. Shout out, I think, the Windy City Productions, who's a good follow on Twitter, tweeted out something like, it only took our losing all of our linebackers to get our secondary healthy. It's like, is this defense ever going to be even close to fully healthy? No. Does not seem to be the case. So,
cruel world.
Yeah, it's tough. Tomo with the 2. Appreciate you, Tom. All right, we're caught up on Super Chats for now. We will answer more in a mailbag segment coming up here in about 15 minutes or so. So rip #Bears or Super Chat. Go ahead and like this video as well. We got almost 700 people watching live, 117 likes. Let's get those likes up. That way more Bears fans can find the video. Here's what we got coming up here on the channel. The latest news and injury updates for both teams. The coordinators also spoke today, Coordinator Thursday. So have one thought on each of them. We will take your questions, #Bears or Super Chat. Declan Doyle was named in Tom Pelissero's kind of under 45-year-olds coaches to watch. He was highlighted. A couple other Bears coaches mentioned he kind of throws just a list of other names to keep an eye on too. So we'll kind of talk about that as well. And then, is this the last chance for the Chicago Bears to beat Aaron Rodgers? We get into it next here on Chicago Bears Now. What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday. I'm Harrison Graham. It is Coordinator Thursday at Hallis Hall, as we heard from Declan Doyle, Dennis Allen, and Richard Hightower. I react to one thing each of them said. Crowded Bears injury report. It's a lot of names on there today. Some good news, though, that we're going to discuss. And then the latest on Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to play? Is he trending in that direction? We'll discuss all of that here on today's show. Let's talk about the coordinators first. Declan Doyle spoke for several minutes today, and there was something he talked about Caleb Williams that I wanted to kind of dive into here. He said, quote, "I remember in either the offseason or training camp, everyone was looking at us funny for throwing a bunch at him. We knew this was kind of the vision of where we wanted to go. We were going to give him a lot of information that he was going to have to process, and he was going to have to learn to process it quicker and get better at it. He's done that every week, and that's something that we're still working through. But I think that he would tell you right now that he's come a long way from that first day of the offseason until now, and we've still got a long way to go, and that's the message." You know what I love is just that, hey, this is our plan, we're sticking to it, and we're going to accept that there's going to be some bumps in the road, because at the end, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but also say, yeah, like, there has been good progress. Caleb Williams from the day one of OTAs to now in this offense has learned, digested, and gotten way more comfortable being a professional quarterback. And yeah, it's still year one in this offense. There's still a long way to go for him as a processor and just digesting everything and being in full control at the line of scrimmage. But you're lying to yourself if you haven't seen growth in those areas. It's clearly taken place. So I'm just glad that they took this approach, number one, and number two, that you're seeing some of the fruits of the labor starting to pay off, even if we understand, like, even at the end of this year, it's still probably an incomplete process, right? Like, you're hoping, like, steady growth, and then next year it really clicks even more. So I'm happy with where things sit right now with Caleb in this offense. All right, Dennis Allen on potentially having an overcrowded secondary because some reinforcements could be coming back with Jaylon Johnson and Kyler Gordon. Here's what he had to say, quote, "We'll figure it out. Give us as many good football players as you can give us, and we'll figure out where to put them." Well, number one, and I think we've seen this with Dennis this year, moving guys around, C.J. Gardner-Johnson playing a couple of positions, moving Shamar Turner to edge before he got hurt. He's willing to try different things because he's not afraid of mixing things up, versatility. He's not stubborn in his approach. Don't want to pick on the former coach, and the former coach did have some good defensive principles, even if some of them are outdated. That's not really something they would have done before. It's like, hey, you're this as a player, and that's kind of all you are. Dennis Allen saying, okay, if we have 6, 7, 8 starting caliber defensive backs, we'll figure out how to use them. We'll make it work. We'll put some guys in the box. We'll put it together and figure out who plays how many snaps and what everybody's role is. And, probably some of that is based on who they're going to be playing that given week. And look, on top of all that, if what's taken place this year continues, chances are they're never going to all be healthy at the same time because this defense has just been hammered with injuries all season long. All right, Richard Hightower was asked about Cairo Santos. Obviously, Jake Moody out the door. And Richard Hightower is very appreciative of his kicker, saying that he is resilient, clutch, and dependable. And I'll say this, and I know people are pissed that Jake Moody's gone, and people are kind of over Cairo Santos. I think for the most part, Hightower's right here. Does he have the strongest leg? No. Long term, would you like to have a bigger leg kicker? Yes. But Cairo is a clutch kicker. He's made some big kicks here. He has been dependable. I've always said this. There's been a couple exceptions this year, but for the most part, when in range, he's very reliable. Now, the problem is he doesn't have the range some other kickers have. He's missed a couple this year that you would expect him to make, but throughout his Bears tenure, even though he's not the most aesthetically pleasing kicker, like his 50-plus yarders aren't halfway up the net like some of these other guys are, if the protection is there, the kick usually splits the uprights. Like, the data shows us that. He actually has set a Bears record for most 50-plus yard kicks. So, yeah, he's not banging in 59-yarders, but if he's in range, which is about 55 and less, he's usually pretty reliable. Doesn't always look the prettiest, but he is pretty reliable. And I like that he said he was resilient, too. For him to miss that kick and then have to come back and make that last one, that shows a lot. And Ben Johnson talked about him being a captain this week and how he's been huge for that special teams group as a whole. So, we can have big picture conversations on Cairo for beyond this season, but I can't really blame, and I'm not really surprised that the Bears, stuck with him over Jake Moody when the Commanders came calling to get Moody off the practice squad. All right, subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you guys daily Bears content, 100% free. We don't charge a dime. We do appreciate the super chats and all that type of stuff. It does help, but we do not charge you guys a penny. Subscribe, turn on the notifications. We will continue to pump out content. All right, let's get to the injury stuff here. The Bears' crowded injury report. You look at the left side of your screen. Top 3 linebackers, second straight day, did not practice. Tremaine Edmunds with the groin. T.J. Edwards still dealing with that hand and hamstring issue. I am not expecting him to play this week. And Noah Sewell with an elbow injury. Not really sure when he and Tremaine got hurt, but clearly at some point they did. Roschon Johnson popped on the injury report today. He was full yesterday. Now he's got a thumb issue, so not really sure what that's about. Travis Homer dealing with a hamstring and knee issue. Joe Thuney just a rest day, so no concern there. Let's be honest, the Bears are in trouble at linebacker this week. I mean, if you're lucky, one of those 3 players plays on Sunday, And I don't think TJ is going to be that guy because he hasn't practiced or played in 2.5 weeks. So is he going to randomly practice on a light day on Friday and play Sunday? I don't think so. We'll see about Tremaine. We'll see about Sewell. I'm not super optimistic there. Here are your healthy linebacker options for this game. On the 53, you got DeMarco Jackson, Ruben Hippolyte, Eamon Ogbongbemiga, and then Carl Jones and Jalen Reeves-Maybin are on the practice squad. Reeves-Maybin, who signed this week, who we figured was primarily for special teams reasons, which I still think is, but given what you have this week, he could be a game day elevation and a guy who has to eat some snaps up. You're pretty thin there. Dennis Allen probably going to have to deploy some dime packages. Producer Colin made a good point saying maybe you play more 5 defensive lineman looks to help stop the run against Pittsburgh, because if I'm the Steelers, I'm looking at this injury report. A, I already want to run the football with Aaron Rodgers not 100% or having to play Mason Rudolph. And B, they don't have any linebackers. So I'm going to play 2-3 tight end personnel and run the ball until the Bears can stop it. And without reliable linebackers, that's going to be tough on the Bears defense. We'll see if Dennis Allen can find a way. All right, coming up, some more Bears and Steelers injury news. We'll get to some more positive things for the Bears on the injury front. And then we'll talk Aaron Rodgers, of course. But first, I want to tell you guys about today's sponsor. That is Ethos. Life insurance, guys. It's important. It's one of the most important investments you can make in your family. And now with Ethos, you can get covered and protected in minutes with rates as low as $2 per day, billed monthly. You can also get up to $3 million in coverage. As a husband and father having life insurance, it's absolutely vital. It's something I do not want to take for granted. Ethos is revolutionizing the insurance industry with a 100% online process and can provide protection for you and your loved ones. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. They have no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. Ethos is a trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry. So don't wait any longer. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get up to $3 million in coverage in as little as 10 minutes at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That link will be in the comments and description. Ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times may vary. Rates may vary as well. All right, more on the Bears injury report. Theo Benedict, I want to talk more about that situation in a second. He popped up today limited with a quad. Darnell Wright limited second straight day with a pec and a back. I'm guessing he'll battle through. He plays through stuff all the time, including torn ligaments in his elbow this year. Drew Dahlman limited again today with that knee, so he's a little banged up here. Tyreek Stevenson limited again with that hip and calf injury. And then Kyler Gordon, who's still on short-term IR, just his second practice back from the practice window with that calf. I'd be surprised if he's activated this week. Probably looking more like next week or that Green Bay game in 2 weeks. Okay, something to watch. Theo Benedict popping up on the injury report. This has happened a couple times this year with some different players. I think it actually happened with Braxton Jones, and he ended up going to IR, and we haven't seen him since. Theo Benedict did not have an injury designation yesterday. And then he pops up limited today. So just so you guys know how this works, that almost certainly, not 100%, but almost certainly means when today's practice started, he was full go. He got injured during practice, left practice and did not return, so he falls into that limited category because he started but didn't finish practice. Now, is it just a little ding and he's going to be out there tomorrow ready to play? Very possible. Or did something a little more serious pop up and he's going to miss this game? Also a possibility. So, quad kind of scares me, like quad, hamstring, groin, those soft tissue areas. That's always a little concerning. So keep an eye on this, because if he can't go, probably Ozzie Trapillo getting a start at left tackle this week against Alex Highsmith rushing the passer. Now, the good news is T.J. Watt does not switch sides. He only lines up against right tackles, but still, that is going to be a challenge if that ends up being the case. It's going to be a challenge for Theo if he plays. It's not like he's a perfect player, but Ozzie Trapillo, who initially was competing at left tackle in training camp, has not really done much over there. So that is definitely a development that we need to watch over the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay, all these guys were full today. Brisker, after not practicing yesterday, was out there, so that's good. Same with DeAndre Swift, limited yesterday, full today with that hip. Jaylon Johnson, more on him in a sec. He was full with that groin injury. He's now had 3 practices. Last Friday, limited. Yesterday, limited. Full today. We will see. Kevin Byard, Grady Jarrett with their weekly rest days. as veterans there. Could he play? Could Jaylon Johnson be out there on Sunday? Now, it doesn't really solve your linebacker problem, but if he can be active and even just be on a pitch count, right? Because that is what I would wonder. Like, if you activate him, do you play him like 30 snaps or something like that? Well, if he could even give you just that, well, that gives you some versatility where you could play him on the outside some, maybe play Tyreek Stevenson some at nickel. You could try that. I don't think Nashawn Wright would play nickel. He's not really built like that. I think Stevenson could hold his own in that regard, but Dennis Allen, like we said earlier, is going to have to get creative unless, one or two of these linebackers randomly are able to play. But, it's going to be an interesting call on Jaylon Johnson. If he's full again tomorrow, maybe it's slightly better than 50-50 that he's able to play on Sunday. He wants to get back out there. Got to protect the player. You're hoping once he's back for the rest of the year. So if that means he needs another week off, give him another week. I will say this. This probably means that if he's not here Sunday, he's playing Black Friday. Like, initially, I wondered if it's that Green Bay game. I think Jaylon Johnson is tracking to play, if not this week, next Black Friday against Philadelphia, which obviously is a huge game as well. Would you bring Jaylon back this week? Type Y for yes and for no. You're in charge. You've been given the green light. Would you bring him back, or would you hold him out one more week? Type Y for yes, you'd bring him back, and for no, you would not. Okay, latest on Aaron Rodgers. He was limited in practice today. Has some kind of stabilizer on his left wrist, some kind of like soft cast situation. Brooke Pryor, who's covered the Steelers forever, had a video of him taking shotgun snaps at practice today. Now, when they went to full team, he was not taking reps. It was Will Howard, obviously, and then Mason Rudolph, who would get the start if Rodgers can't play. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see if he does more. We'll see what they list him at. Again, limited today. I'm betting he plays. Now, they could do the whole questionable thing, and we don't find out till Sunday, but my gut says he's playing. He knows what the stakes are with Pittsburgh's positioning in the AFC North. He wants to play against Chicago. We all know that. So I'm guessing he at least gives it a go. And it could be one of those situations where if you're the Steelers, it's like you've got three quarterbacks. You could just start him, and if it's not going well or if he can't do certain things, you just go to Mason Rudolph, right? Like, there's really no downside in that. So we'll see if that ends up being the case, but I'm betting he plays. Elsewhere on the injury report, guys who are limited, Jaylen Warren, who did not practice yesterday, so he's tracking toward being good to go. Isaac Seumalo has been limited 2 days in a row, And then Alex Highsmith, who didn't practice yesterday, was limited. And remember, could be matched up on either a not 100% Theo Benedict or Ozzie Trapillo there on the left side. So that could be a huge matchup in this game. Darius Slay was a full participant. Mike Tomlin says he will regain his starting position, so I think the Bears should go after him. He has struggled this year. Keyshawn Williams also, who's been in the concussion protocol, looks like he's good to go. And then Jonnu Smith and T.J. Watt, who had rest days yesterday, they were out there, as was Cole Holcomb. And then Cameron Hayward had his rest day today, the veteran defensive tackle, but he's healthy. He's fine. He will be playing on Sunday. All right, those are the injury reports for today, Thursday. Obviously, Friday will be a big day. If there's major developments, we'll have that covered. Get your score predictions in right now. Chicago Bears, the banged-up Bears, the cardiac Bears, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will they have Aaron Rodgers? I think they will. Who wins? What's the final score going to be? Give us your thoughts down in the comment section below. And like I said, if there's a major development on the injury report on Friday, we will have that covered for you. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you soon. And as always, bear down. All right, Alex, I might as well play linebacker on Sunday. Yeah, you and me are going to be out there, basically. So we'll see if DeMarco Jackson, Ruben Hippolyte, potentially a practice squad elevation or two, can step up to the plate, but they are thin. They are very, very thin.
Marcus, we'll get your super chat into our mailbag that we're about to get into here.
Hashtag Bears or super chat. Cullen is the safety.
Yeah, I'm better close to the line of scrimmage. I'll tell you that much.
Cullen's, he's not trying to play lateral. He's trying to get downhill.
I am a north and south player.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Yep. Use hashtag Bears or super chat. That's a good one from Zachary. Just looking through these now.
Hashtag Bears or super chat.
Some good questions, to be honest.
Yeah, load them up. Load them up. We'll get to as many as we can.
DC, I'd be honored to be Bobby Boucher. I'd be honored. He says Cullen has the water boy.
Colin has the what?
The water boy. I'd be honored to be Bobby Boucher.
A legend.
Bobby Boucher.
Where does that rank on Sandler moves? Is that top 5?
That's one of the better ones, I think.
I mean, OG Happy Gilmore's,
Yes.
I think, number 1.
Happy Gil. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I still haven't watched the second one, by the way.
I watched it. It's nothing beats the original, but it is a good movie.
Like, is it fair to say it's like the nostalgia's still there, but it's not storyline wise, it's not going to hold up.
No,
like compared to the OG.
It's something that, like, if you're a fan of Adam Sandler, like those kind of movies, like I would suggest
you're
watching.
going to have fun.
Exactly, but it's also like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, early 2000s was the peak. I mean, you had that one. You had
well, we were really
Billy Madison's got to be pretty high up there.
we were literally just what was the movie where he goes to prison?
Longest Yard.
Longest Yard.
That's a good. That's a slept on one. I think a lot of big Sandler fans wouldn't mention that one, but I think it's up there.
I would agree.
I think it's up there. All right, we'll get to your questions now. Hashtag Bear Super Chat. We got a lot more to go here on today's live show, so hang with us here as we are rolling along on a Thursday live show. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let's answer your questions here on this mailbag. I'm Harrison Graham. Is this Aaron Rodgers' burner on this mailbag? Ayahuasca enthusiast. Once the entire secondary is healthy, who is the odd man out? Yeah, Dennis Allen, kind of mentioned on Thursday. He was like, yeah, give me good players. We'll figure out a way to get them on the field. You could argue if everybody's healthy, you've got 7 legitimate starters. Jaylon Johnson's obviously your best corner when fully healthy. Tyreek Stevenson, he's up and down, but he's starting caliber. I would say Nahshon Wright has played well enough where he's a starting caliber player. Now, he's not as proven as these other guys, but he does have 4 interceptions this year. Kyler Gordon, clearly a starting caliber player, primarily a nickel, but could you play him at outside corner? He's done that some. Dennis Allen in training camp talked about playing him some at safety. He's been hurt most of the year, so I don't know if they would do that. But you've got him. Obviously, C.J. Gardner-Johnson's been a fantastic addition. He's more of a nickel safety hybrid. Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, safety options. Brisker, I think you could play as like a hybrid linebacker. He's more of a box safety downhill player, especially in this game against Pittsburgh with the linebacker injuries. That could be an option. Typically, you're going to have 5 DBs on the field. Now, they could use some dime packages more where they have 6 defensive backs. I think just my gut tells me in general, like when you have 5 DBs on the field, you'll probably have one of Tyreek Stevenson or Nahshon Wright on the bench. And this is fully healthy, like Jaylon Johnson not on a pitch count, Kyler Gordon not on a pitch count, etc. And then you mix and match with Gordon, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and Brisker maybe? Like, is that what you do? Because to me, when fully healthy, guys who should never leave the field, Kevin Byard, Jaylon Johnson, and honestly, probably C.J. Gardner-Johnson at this point. I think he's earned that. Now, maybe with Gordon, you would take him off some, but like I want him playing most of the snaps. I want healthy Gordon playing a lot of the snaps. So I think that's the biggest challenge of it. How do you keep Gordon and Gardner-Johnson on the field at the same time? That is what I would be looking to do if I was Dennis Allen. And if you want to stagger Tyreek Stevenson and Nahshon Wright, let the, kind of the running back thing Ben Johnson was talking about. Hot hand. Whoever's playing better, you're the other outside corner. That's probably the way I'd be approaching it. But good problem to have. I think Dennis Allen's a smart enough guy to figure it out. But, it'll be interesting to see how all the pieces to the puzzle fit. Who should be the 5 starting DBs? Just in basic nickel sets, which 5 guys do you want out there? You let me know down in the comments section. All right, Marcus, excuse me. Okay, appreciate the 2. He says, would you trade a day 2 pick for Brandon Aubrey? Honestly, yes. Especially a 3rd. I mean, if you trade a 3rd-round pick for Brandon Aubrey, and even if you just had him for 5 years, okay, I have the best kicker in the league with the best leg for 5 years. Yes, that's worth it. Like, the Cowboys are in scoring range as soon as they cross midfield. It's a very unique situation. The Cam Little kid in Jacksonville has a booming leg. So they kind of have that as well. He's not as consistently accurate as Aubrey, but I honestly would trade a third for Aubrey, and I would consider a second. I think he is that good of a weapon for Dallas. Zachary Francois, any chance we pick up Dameon Pierce? Yeah, I saw he was cut. The only way they'd probably pick him up is if, like, this Roschon Johnson thumb injury, and again, we're filming this live Thursday, so we might have clarity on that. If that was, like, a serious deal, I don't think Pierce plays special teams much. So, I mean, think about this. Houston cut him, and that was after the announcement that Joe Mixon's likely not returning this season. So, like how good is he? I know he was good the first kind of year and a half in the NFL, but he's been phased out pretty heavily since then by the Texans. All right, today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. The way you play Prize Picks is simple. You pick 2 or more players and take more or less on their stat projections. That's passing yards, receiving yards, rushing yards, touchdowns, points, rebounds, assists in basketball, goals in soccer and hockey, and so much more. You can follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app. Copy their lineups in one click. You can follow me at HGramNFL. Whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button. Check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Simple 2-player lineup I've got this weekend. I'll add some more. I took more on DeAndre Swift's rushing yards, and I took more on DK Metcalf's receiving yards as well. $20 lineup to win $60. Check out Prize Picks today. Download the app. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. All right, we got Construction King, #Bears. Are the Bears actually pretenders, or are we just not capable of putting teams away, so we play just good enough to win barely? That's a good question. We'll find out, right? Because the competition's getting tougher. So regardless of how they win moving forward, you're going to at least have to elevate your play a little bit, right? Like Minnesota was tougher than the Giants. They played a little better against Minnesota and found a way to win that game. Probably have to play a little better against Pittsburgh to win this game. Against Philadelphia, you're going to have to play even better to win that game. So, the aesthetics of how you win in the NFL, it doesn't matter that much, but I think we can all at least acknowledge that, yeah, the games are going to get a lot harder than what they've been so far. So I think they're a contender in the sense of their playoff chances, very real chance they make the playoffs. How far can they go? Like if you're asking me, Harrison, is there a world this team makes the Super Bowl? I'd say that's pretty unlikely. Even NFC Championship. Now, I do think this team can win a playoff game. If they get the right matchup, they could absolutely win a playoff game, which would be a hell of a result. And listen, I'm open to those thoughts changing. If they win a lot of these games down the stretch against big-time opponents, and yeah, the expectations or at least the goal can change. So excited to see it unfold. DC Viper, what is to blame for the wide receiver drops lately? Is that something they can fix fast or not? Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything else. I think it's just a concentration thing. Caleb at times does throw a harder football than other quarterbacks, but I don't really like that excuse. It's like you've been catching balls from this quarterback for 6 months, going back to the offseason program. And especially, look, it's one thing where it's like extended, it has to be a hands-only catch. But when it hits DJ Moore right here and you can use the body to help you catch it, like if you use the body, you better catch it. And DJ Moore didn't. So like I don't, that's on the receiver. Even the ones off the chest are on the receiver, so I can at least understand why those are tougher to catch. But I think you just got to concentrate. Listen, this offense emphasizes yards after the catch, so I think Luther Burden's was an example of this. Ball's like out in front, hit him right on the run. He's looking to make something happen. Well, you got to squeeze it first, right? So it's just kind of that little concentration detail. But, yeah, I mean, they've left some big plays out there, especially the last couple of weeks. All right, subscribe to the channel, guys. We are closing in on 141,000 subs. That's our next milestone. Free and daily content here on Bears Now, including these mailbags every Monday and Thursday, 4 o'clock Central Time. We also answer your questions during our live watch parties on Sunday, which we will this Sunday against the Steelers. All right, Tom, what is our number one concern for the draft? Edge or offensive tackle? Concern. All things equal right now, I'll say edge. But if you ask me, like, hey, group all those players together and rank them, I would just say take the best left tackle or pass rusher available. That's probably what I would say. If that's someone like Caden Proctor, sweet. If that's someone like Ruben Bain, if he's available, awesome. I do think left tackle and edge at this exact moment are probably your biggest needs. Where's Nestle? Do you think the Bears will trade for a high-tier pass rusher at this point if they are at this point next year? So, like, well, if they're at this exact point, the trade deadline will have passed. So if you're saying, like, early in the season next year, maybe I could see an offseason move happening. What happens with Max Crosby in Vegas? I think the Bears would be on the list of teams that would be pretty interested. Does Myles Garrett ask for a trade again from Cleveland? Now, his contract's harder to trade for the Browns than Max Crosby's is for the Raiders. The way they structured those deals, it's easier for the Raiders to trade Crosby. But there's going to be a few big-name pass rushers that are worth monitoring, including those two. So maybe the Bears would pounce on one of those guys. We'll see. All right, predict the score. Bears, Steelers, who you got winning, and what's that score going to be? Give me your thoughts. I'm curious. All right, Jimothy Jim Jam 621. What grade would you give Poles for his offseason moves based on the season's played out up to this point? I mean, if you add it all up, it's somewhere in the B's, I would say. You know, Dio Adengbo's not looking like a good deal, and, you know, the injury makes it worse. He can't control that, obviously, but felt like a big overpay at the time, played out like an overpay, and now he's going to have to come back from an Achilles. So that looks like mostly a whiff. But the two trades he made, a 4th rounder for Joe Thuney and a 6th rounder for Jonah Jackson, I would give those both really good grades. You have to give up draft picks, but day 3 pick for both, and both have hit. I think that's good. The Drew Dahlman deal, he's been really solid. I think offensive line as a whole, you'd have to give that an A-. I'm sure Ben Johnson had some influence there, but still give him credit. Draft picks, guys starting to come around, right? Like you're seeing it with Colson Loveland. Luther Burden is clearly an exciting playmaker. You have to give those, you know, those are still relatively incomplete. They've only played 10, 11 games here. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's one of his better off seasons, and getting Ben Johnson, probably the biggest move of all, right? I think this staff in 10 games has shown the ability to develop better than the last staff did in 3 years. So getting the right coach is a big part of it. Decker, how would you improve the Bears special teams for this final push? Well, I will say this. One thing that improved dramatically last week was kickoff coverage and kickoff return. You almost had 2 big returns. They set up that wide return twice. Blackwell got tripped up at the 30 once. If he doesn't, he might have gone for a while. And then obviously you dial it up for Duvernay at the end, and it popped. So that was huge. The kickoff coverage unit was really good as well. They kind of went to the knuckleball kicks for Cairo Santos. They covered those up. Well, they had one that landed in the landing zone, went to the end zone for a touchback. That's at the 20. Had a couple of tackles for the 25. So that got cleaned up. Also had a bad penalty, kick-catch interference, and you gave a bad punt return. So still incomplete, but I thought they made some adjustments on the kickoff stuff. And Cairo mostly had a good day. So I don't think Hightower's just sitting around during these weeks. Like, you saw improvement in a clear area that was struggling. Now you just gotta have a complete performance, right? And that's kind of the theme of this team, right? Like, you see how good this team can be in all areas, but has it all come together at once? We haven't really seen that. So if we do, that could result in a blowout win at some point. All right, appreciate all the questions. Really good ones. If we didn't get to you, give me a follow on social media, Twitter, Instagram, same handle, @HGramNFL. We'd love to see you over there. Give me a follow. Slide into the DMs. They're wide open. Talk some Bears football. Also hit that subscribe button and bear down.
Give us some score predictions down in the chat.
Score predictions.
Good questions today, guys.
Yeah, good stuff, boys. And
Good
gals,
stuff.
if there's any gals in there.
Yes. Good stuff. Ron says 38-10 Bears. What's up, Ron? Looks like we haven't seen you in a minute.
Appreciate you.
Worm saying Bears 31, Steelers 13.
Let's go. Let's go.
Good call, Freddie. Havoc says 6-7.
6-7. Oh, man.
All right, we got Tom saying 3-0 Bears. We say Ace 31-16. We had some super chats up on screen. I gotta handle some stuff off camera.
Just go to a preview, Colin, where we just do the team stats and just timestamp.
I will do it.
All right, I get a few shout-outs here. Trace and chat. Okay, Henry 31-20 Bears. We got let's see, unranked God 52-17 Bears. Daniel 17-17 tie. Would not love a tie. Better than a loss. Freddie says 28-18 Bears.
Here,
2-0 Bears.
Can you check what I just sent you? Sorry, just to make sure.
We got 17-14 Bears from Finicky Wizard. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Vashi 28-17 Steelers. Boo! That would suck if the Steelers won. Bears got a lot of injuries, though, so it's going to take a big effort. Going to take a big ol' effort from the boys. Bum of Wall Street 20-13 Bears. 27-21 Bears from Brent. Bray J, 28-21 Bears. Let's go. Four to 3 Bears. 2 safeties to a field goal. Let's go. Who says no? Who says no? All right. We'll hop into our next segment here coming up. Going to talk about, I'm trying to remember what we're talking about next. Oh, Tom Pelissero puts out an annual young coaches to keep an eye on like this time of year, you know, for the upcoming cycle. Head coaches. I think a lot of these guys could fall into like, you know, could they take the jump to coordinators as well? A couple Bears coaches mentioned, including Declan Doyle, who was highlighted among the 24 names he focused on the most. So thought that was worth getting into. We'll circle back to these super chats after this segment. So TJ, Daly, Tom, we will hit you, Khalil as well. Appreciate you guys. We will hit those super chats, and then we'll get to our last segment as well. So 2 more to come. Let's talk a little Tommy P. Could some Bears assistant coaches garner some interest in this coaching carousel coming up this offseason? We're going to talk about it here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Tom Pelissero releases an annual Young Coaching Candidates to Know article. He highlights 20 to 25 coaches, this year 24. And to qualify, it's guys who are 45 and younger and have never been a head coach. 3 Bears, actually 4, typo on my part. 4 Bears assistant coaches were mentioned. 1 was highlighted, who we'll get to in a second. And just last offseason, 3 of these guys were hired that fit the criteria, including Ben Johnson, who I believe was 38 years old when the Bears hired him. Liam Cohen, under 45 as well for the Jags, as was Kellen Moore with the New Orleans Saints. And as Tom Pelissero points out, this has been a growing trend. Here's what Tom Pelissero had to say via NFL.com. He said, several established college coaches could become involved in the search process, and nobody should be shocked if the names Bill Belichick and John Gruden come up at some point. But many NFL owners are still inclined to search for the next Sean McVay, the rising young coach who could solidify the pivotal franchise role for a decade or more. In the 8 cycles since the Rams hired McVay in 2017, more than half of all head coaching hires league-wide have come from the same demographic, under 45 years old with no previous NFL head coaching experience. Well, Tom Pelissero highlighted 24 coaches to keep a close eye on, and then he had some honorable mentions. Declan Doyle was one of the 24, 29-year-old Declan Doyle, who, we were kind of surprised when Ben Johnson hired him as his non-play calling OC. Here's what Pelissero had to say about Declan. He said, one of the youngest coordinators in modern NFL history, Doyle spent 3 years as a student assistant at Iowa before then Saints coach Sean Payton hired him as an offensive assistant in 2019. When Payton ended a one-year retirement to take the Broncos head coaching job, he hired Doyle as tight ends coach in Denver, where Doyle spent 2 seasons before Ben Johnson handpicked him to serve as OC. With the Bears off to a fast start and quarterback Caleb Williams playing better, Doyle's pedigree could compel some teams to at least want to pick his brain in January. I think that last part's important. Pick his brain. I could see Declan Doyle getting a head coaching interview or two this cycle. I think actually getting a head coaching job this cycle where he'll turn 30 next year, that is probably a stretch. I mean, 29 turning 30, that would be really, really young to become a head coach. But this is the reality. When you're a talented team and a talented coaching staff and you're winning, teams are going to be interested in your coaches. And the Bears, who never have a good offense, have a very good offense. And Declan Doyle's the offensive coordinator, even though he doesn't call plays. The Bears are 8th in scoring, 4th in total yards, 13th in passing yards, 2nd in rushing yards, 6 total turnovers, which is tied for 2nd in the NFL. This offense leads the NFL in explosive plays with 82 as well. And when you listen to Declan Doyle talk about, everything they've thrown at Caleb Williams and why they approach things this way. He was a part of that Denver staff where they did wonders for Bo Nix as a rookie. He's worked under Sean Payton, a guy who's done it for a long time. He's now worked under Ben Johnson. Like, in a short amount of time, this guy has been around some really, really smart coaches. So, yeah, I think he's a name that people are going to look into very, very quickly. Now, you could debate, where does Declan Doyle fit in the pie chart for the Bears' offensive success? He doesn't call the plays, but he's doing a lot of the work during the week to come up with these game plans, so on and so forth. So it's hard to quantify that, if you will. But again, when you're having success, other teams are going to pay attention. Like, I wonder who the Bears' offensive coordinator is under Ben Johnson. They finally have a good offense. Oh, Declan Doyle, 29 years old. Let's call him, pick his brain. So yeah, I could absolutely see that being the case in this cycle, even though I think it's a very long shot that he would get a head coaching job. Now, Ben Johnson, if you remember, said this about Declan Doyle, I believe at the NFL Combine back in February, said John Morton, who's the Lions OC right now, had his play calling taken away, but said, he told me, Ben, listen, he's another Ben Johnson. I'm banking on that being a good thing. Listen, I think he and I are a match made in heaven. He thinks very much like me. And then Sean Payton, who Doyle has worked under both in Denver and New Orleans, said right away, if you're a player or a coach, you're like, quote, this guy knows his shit, close quote. So again, the endorsement of Sean Payton, Ben Johnson thinking that he's very similar to me, especially when I was that age. John Morton, who maybe he's not the greatest play caller, but he's worked under some big-time head coaches, saying, Ben, go hire this guy. He's got a lot of skins on the wall. His dad, who got in trouble for some not-so-great things at Iowa, but that's not Declan's fault. He coached college football forever, so he has this kind of – he's had the upbringing to be a coach. He's been around some smart guys. He is definitely a riser in this business. Now, could he leave this offseason? I would say if he does, it's most likely to become a play-calling offensive coordinator. The Bears could not block that, right? He is a non-play calling OC, so if some team – wanted to bring him in as a play-calling offensive coordinator, he could take that job. Now, he might say, hey, I'm 29 years old. I want to get more experience here with Ben. I'm just going to stay put and do what I'm doing. I could totally see that being the case as well. But listen, depending on the team, if someone wants to make him the play caller, I would not be shocked if he jumped at that opportunity. Again, head coach, probably a long shot, but could get an interview or two. Would not shock me whatsoever. Now, how would you grade the Bears offense so far this year? A, B, C, D, or F? I'd give it a solid BB plus, to be honest. Now, they've missed some opportunities, especially early on in the year. The penalties were an issue, but they can really run the football. They have that identity. They get a lot of explosives in the passing game. Caleb Williams still coming along. It's not perfect, but BB plus for the Chicago Bears. Usually we're talking Ds and Fs. So, yeah, People are paying attention. They're noticing these things. All right, we'll get to some other coaches that have garnered some attention per Tom Pelissero, but I do want to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor. That is Ethos, the best life insurance partner you could have. Life insurance is the most important investment you can make you and your family. Now with Ethos, you can get covered and protected in minutes with rates as low as $2 per day, billed monthly. You can also get up to $3 million in coverage. As a husband, a father, having life insurance is absolutely vital. It is something I do not want to take for granted. Ethos is revolutionizing the industry when it comes to insurance with a 100% online process and can provide protection for you and your loved ones. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. Ethos has no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. By the way, as of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. So protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get up to $3 million in coverage in as little as 10 minutes at ethos.com/NFL daily. That is ethos.com/NFL daily. Application times may vary. Rates may vary as well. Other coaches mentioned by Tom Pelissero in this article, JT Barrett. You almost forget he's on this staff. He's 30 years old. You see him a lot during these games on the sideline. It's usually him and Case Keenum, on the iPad with Caleb, kind of reviewing the series before that stuff. I think Declan's up in the booth getting that bird's eye view for Ben Johnson and, feeding that information down, obviously having some input with the play calls and everything. But JT Barrett just kind of has like that aura, if you will, as the kids would say. I mean, he's a big-time college quarterback, turned to coaching really quickly, and has now become this team's quarterback's coach. I also do wonder if Declan Doyle did take a play-calling OC job, would JT Barrett just be like, hey, you're now the OC, right? Like, you're not going to call plays, but you're the offensive coordinator, a little promotion here for you. And then, they hire a different quarterback coach, or maybe he still works with the quarterback some. Case Keenum is QB's coach. Who says no? Could see that being a possibility. Keenum strikes me as a guy who could get into coaching if he wants to. But, I could see Barrett sticking around and just kind of taking that promotion. But he is a name to watch in the future, only 30 years old. Jim Dre, the Bears tight end coach, and if you remember, when Ben Johnson started putting the staff together, he kept 2 coaches from the prior staff. Richard Hightower is the special teams coordinator, and Jim Dre. I thought it spoke volumes when he kept Jim Dre because Ben Johnson is an offensive guy. This offense has been a joke, and he kept an offensive assistant. That caught my attention at the time, and I would say it's looked like a pretty good move, right? It took some time, but Colson Loveland's gotten more involved. He looks like the real deal. He's blocking his ass off for a rookie tight end to block this well early on. Really impressive. Obviously, Cole Kmet has spoken highly of Jim Dre over the years. He really likes him as well. So just 38 years old. Maybe he's a guy that could get an offensive coordinator job down the line somewhere. So keep an eye on him also. All right, subscribe to the channel. News, rumors, injury updates, game day coverage. We do it all here at Chicago Bears Now. And we don't charge a dime. It's 100% free. Turn on those notifications. That way you never miss an episode. Okay, Press Taylor is next, just 37 years old. Feels like he's been around for a while. He's with the Eagles, with the Jags. There's mixed reviews around Press Taylor league-wide. I remember Bears fans were making fun of the Jags for hiring Shane Waldron as their pass game coordinator. Jags fans were making fun of the Bears for hiring Press Taylor as their passing game coordinator. So, who knows, right? But he's still a young guy. He's been on staffs that have had some success. So, I don't know more than other guys on Press Taylor necessarily, but he is a name that Pelissero mentioned. And then the last one here, Cannon Matthews, the Nichols coach, a defensive assistant, works with the Nichols. I will say this, Kyler Gordon's missed most of the year. This defense has had to mix and match at nickel. Nick McLeod was at least scrappy holding his own in there. Josh Blackwell's played a few snaps. Obviously, C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the mix now. They're pretty aggressive with how they deploy their nickels. Now, Dennis Allen's the play caller, but Cannon Matthews is working with these guys in positional drills, so he could be a name to keep an eye on too. Just a few other coaches I want to mention. They're not younger than 45. That's why they're not mentioned in this article. But I think guys that could garner attention elsewhere. Eric Bieniemy, you would think that some teams would be interested in bringing him in or at least interviewing him as an OC candidate. I don't know about head coach. He'd probably have to be an OC first, prove his worth there. Then maybe he gets back into the head coach interview mix where he was for a while when he was with Kansas City. But people forget, when he was the Commanders' offensive coordinator, Sam Howell threw for 4,000 yards. Like, I don't know how good of a play caller Eric Bieniemy is, but I don't think he's a scrub. And I think what he's done with these running backs has been really impressive. DeAndre Swift has had arguably the best year of his career, definitely better than last year. And Kyle Monunga is a 7th-round rookie, has more than belonged. And I think Bieniemy has done a great job with these guys. Antoine Randall, he strikes me as a guy who could be a head coach in this league, CEO type. I don't know if he would be a play-calling head coach, but he's just got those natural leadership qualities. There's a reason Ben Johnson named him the assistant head coach. You know, he leads some of these meetings leading up to these games, so he's someone. Also, then Al Harris, who's not only the DB's coach, but the defensive pass game coordinator, I think he's a prime candidate to be a defensive coordinator soon. Think about what this guy has done. Jaylon Johnson has not been available pretty much all year. Kyler Gordon has played in 2 games. You know, Nashawn Wright, career year. I think Al Harris gets a lot of credit for that. Tyreek Stevenson, it's been a little up and down, but he's played pretty damn well at times. Like, Al Harris is a really, really good defensive backs coach. I remember Cowboys fans were in shambles when they lost him. So he is definitely a guy who's going to get a DC opportunity at some point. Who knows? Maybe he gets some head coach looks down the road as well. And I'll say it one more time. This is what you want because that means you're winning. Teams are going to be interested in your coaches if you are winning. The good news is this. Your head coach is the play caller offensively. So you're not going to be changing offenses. That's why I like offensive head coaches, because if it works, you're not changing schemes. Sure, the scheme might evolve and you're going to constantly add things, but you're not having to change. You know, Jalen Hurts has a new OC every year. That's not what you want. And then Dennis Allen is probably not getting a third chance to be a head coach down the road. And if he is, it's way down the road. So your 2 pillars are set in Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen. So that's the good news. And, the trickle-down effect from there, those coaches obviously matter. But if you have your 2 play callers in place, that really, really helps. All right, which assistant coach do you most not want to lose? I think if I had to pick one, I'd pick Al Harris, because I think what he's done with guys who – Nashawn Wright on a practice squad last year, kind of a journeyman backup, really, really impressive. I think he's gotten really good production out of Tyreek Stevenson as well. I'm hoping you get another year out of this guy because I don't think long-term you're going to have him, unfortunately. And then if I had to pick another one, I'd probably pick Antoine Randall. I think he's just kind of a glue guy. I think you can feel his presence on this football team. So those would probably be the 2 I would point to, but let me know what you guys think. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Chicago Bears Now. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're not going anywhere. Content every single day. And as always, bear down. All right, hit some super chats here. Then we'll get into our last segment. TJ says if they win, that Eagles game is huge. It's big regardless. If they lose, it's huge too because you'd rather not lose 2 in a row, right? So, but yeah, it's huge in the sense of if you win, you would leapfrog Philly in the NFC playoff picture if you beat them. So, yeah, I mean, that Eagles game, Black Friday, free on Prime Video, Colin, worldwide. Yep. I think 240 countries are going to have access to it. You don't even have to have a paid-for account to watch it. All you have to do is download the Prime app. So that's
still tune into our stream though.
Yeah, watch us, of course. We would appreciate it. But yeah, it's that's going to be a massive game. No question about it.
Yeah, and I think, ultimately, too, where the Bears have shown throughout the season they can win in multiple ways, right? And similarly to how it's kind of shaping up with the Steelers game, potentially could be similar against Philadelphia, where, again, offense that's not the most potent. Their defense, especially their defensive line, is going to create havoc in terms of, going up against, strength on strength, because the Bears' offensive line, we'll see where Theo Bennett obviously stands, but for the most part, the Bears' offensive line has been one of the strengths of this team. They're going to have their numbers checked here these next 2 weeks, and that Eagles game included. I mean, you still have Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, everybody knows. You obviously traded from Jalen Phillips from Miami, so, yeah, I think, look, teams that often win the line of scrimmage are usually in better position to win games in the NFL. This will be the arguably two toughest stretches in terms of games for the Bears offensive line all year, and I'm interested to see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh, the focus this week, but if you get through that one, I mean, that Philly game is kind of just like a let it rip, man. You don't have to have it, but, I think we'll find out, how much in the, in kind of the military trenches are you willing to get into? Because Philly's going to make that a physical, muck-it-up football game. That's how they like to play. And so can the Bears match that intensity, that physicality, tough week on the road, day after Thanksgiving? I think we'll learn a lot about this team.
And you get to see your favorite play up close and personal.
Oh, I can't wait to watch the tush push. I just love it. Nothing better. Daily basis. If the run game stalls, do you have confidence in the passing offense to go win you this game? I know Chase Brown had a good day, but flukes can happen.
Okay, so if the run game stalls, you have.
What does Chase Brown have to? Oh, against the Steelers. Chase Brown had a good game against the Steelers. I see. Yeah, I mean, look, I think that the Bears passing attack has shown that even inconsistent, it still produces. Like, it's not like there hasn't been a game where this passing attack has just been dormant. Like, not a single one. Now, there's been lesser games than others, but even in the lesser games for Caleb Williams, there's still been solid production. Ben's going to scheme up some open plays. So, can you be one-dimensional for 4 quarters and beat a high-quality team through the air? We'll see. They haven't really had to do that. So, we'll find out. We will absolutely find out if it comes to that. But I also think you're going to be able to run the ball in this game. I think they'll be able to run the football in this game. So they want to be balanced. Hopefully they're able to. Who do we got? Tom, do you think it's a little odd how quick Jaylon seems to be coming back? Did he plan to sit this year after what happened in weeks 1 and 2? Well, the report after week 2 was the timetable is likely December if the Bears are in the mix. If he plays this week, it'll be the second to last week in November. Hit rehab hard. Give him credit. He wants to be back out there. Does feel a little quick. I am surprised. I thought we'd be looking at after Thanksgiving. And again, we don't know if he's playing in this game. So I do want to make that clear. But, I think it's a pleasant surprise, even if he doesn't play this week, that he's coming back.
Right.
Like, it's just a matter of when, whether it's 3 days from now or next Friday, 8 days from now, or the game after that, he will be back in the next, 15, 20 days. So
I remember when his initial –
we're good.
Thanks, Sam. I remember when his initial practice window was open. I texted you immediately and was like, I didn't expect him back until late December. I thought it would be something where, like, he was going to have to, really work his way, to your point, kind of like maybe post-Thanksgiving, try to ramp his way up, and then,
maybe open practice window like December 10th and then get him ready for, like, week 17.
Exactly. Like, give him, like, a couple games that, hopefully, like, if you're in position, like, he can maybe contribute, and then also, like, if you do want to make a postseason run, like, he could be ready for. That's what I thought his timeline was, and the fact that he could be potentially playing here in week 12.
It's kudos to him and the rehab team and who he's been working with and everything. So, yeah, I mean, if he plays this week, that means basically he's out 2.5 months. That's pretty quick turnaround after having a muscle core surgery. DC Viper, just for fun, what team would you rather have in a 2-minute drill, the Mean Machine or the Mud Dogs with Bobby Boucher? Give me the Mean Machine.
Mean Machine was pretty nasty.
Machine. And they have Michael Irvin.
That's true.
They actually have a real NFL player.
That's true. Well, I mean, they had a lot of talent on their team.
They were loaded.
Very.
They were loaded.
Marcus, last 2 quarterbacks have had their splash trade with Trubisky. We got Mac with Fields. We got DJ. Or with Trubisky, we got Mac. With Fields, we got DJ. Who do you predict Caleb's splash trade will be? I guess somebody that the Bears will trade for to kind of pair.
Like hoping that Caleb's the guy, like kind of going for it type thing.
I mean, how do we not say that's maybe Joe Thuney? I mean, that's kind of a big trade. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. Maybe splash is the right word, but yeah, I mean Thuney. But I think he probably means like what's like the big like blockbuster trade. I mean, do they go back to like the Mac route, like Trubisky wasn't the guy, but if you think Caleb is, you try to get a Max Crosby, you try to get a Myles Garrett, Danielle Hunter, someone like that. I could see that being the case. I don't think it'd be for an offensive piece unless there's some like late 20s left tackle that like a Laramie Tunsil type becomes available.
I'll say this because Ronnie in the chat saying Crosby. To me, he seems like a Raider lifer. And listen, could it be for a guy like Myles Garrett? Could it be for a guy like, another pass rusher like a Trey Hendrickson?
I still do wonder, though, like, at some point, does something give for Crosby? It's like you listen to him after these games, and he's just, like, devastated. Like, I know he wants to be there, and our Raiders Report host, Mitchell Renz, is like, there's post-career reasons why he doesn't want to leave Vegas. He could be a minority owner in the future. Like, I get all that, but, like, at some point, like, I'm not saying he's clearly a major competitor, but, like, dude, his career is being wasted. I mean, this is like, what's his name in Cleveland, the left tackle forever, Joe Thomas. I mean, he's like the best player that never played in a game that mattered, ever. It's like Mike Trout with the Angels. Guy plays no meaningful games. Sure. It is such a waste. I'm with you. He seems to want to stay there, but, like, I don't know. Things can change. I don't know. I would say this, like, if you're Crosby and it's a team like Chicago, it's, like, still a big market, branding opportunities. Like, I don't think he'd want to go to, like, Jacksonville, but Chicago, Dallas. Dallas was rumored to be interested at the deadline. They obviously went with Quinnen Williams, but we'll see. Offseason's kind of become a random hot trade bed for the NFL.
It has, and look, I mean, we're here for it. We'll be covering it, but to me, like, you kind of nailed it on the head during the mailbag that we had earlier. Like, it feels like they're not going to wait until, again, we'll see how this year finishes out. We'll see kind of the progression of guys like Austin Booker, just where the team finishes overall. Do they win the division? Do they get in the playoffs? Like, all these kind of different factors, right? How they finish the season. This feels like an offseason where the Bears could potentially, like, to that last Super Chat, make a splash trade. It feels like it's leading that way.
I'll say this, too. This draft on the surface kind of feels underwhelming. So if you were going to trade a first-round pick, this might be the offseason to do it, especially if you're picking, like, 20. It's like, okay, we don't have a top 10 pick like we've been used to. This draft isn't loaded. Would you trade the 20th pick and, like, a future second or something for, that's probably not enough to get Crosby, but, like,
or Garrett,
would you do that for, like, a tier, like, would you trade the 20th pick for, like, who's ever in that next tier? Like, I don't know who that is. I mean, it might even be someone we're not thinking about yet. I think Danielle Hunter's too old to give a first round pick for, but, I'd have to think of some names, but, would you do that? I don't know. Like, what if the Giants are like, we want to pay Kayvon Thibodeau. We've drafted Abdul Carter. Like, would you give the 20th pick for Brian Burns?
I don't know if they would trade that, but I mean,
because to me, I know before last week he was leading the NFL in sacks, but, like, he's not a Myles Garrett or Max Crosby to me. But, like, he's probably right in that next tier.
Would you give the 20th pick for either one of those three pass rushers in New York?
Oh.
For Carter,
Burns, I would not do it for Kayvon. I don't think he's dynamic enough as a pass rusher to do it. I'd do it for Abdul. I know this year has kind of been up and down. You'd have to dig into the personal stuff. There's been some kind of leaks there, but third pick from last year, I'd probably trade the 20th pick for him. I mean, take my chances that I can get him going.
Yeah.
He still has had a lot of pressures. I mean, it's hard as a rookie to come in and have like 8-10 sacks. So.
DC asked about what about Josh Hines-Allen?
It's an interesting name. He feels more like a second-round pick to me. It's kind of weird. Like, the top guys, it's like multiple ones, and then the next year it's like, it's probably more like a second. Because there is a drop-off after the top, like, 3, 4, 5 guys, in my opinion.
Yeah. Obviously, we'll wait to see kind of how free agency kind of stacks up before the draft, but if you're not able to get that big splash trade, do you potentially leverage either picks you have in this current draft, or dare I say even future picks, if you're just in love with, like, say, a pass rush, for example. Like, if you're in love with Ruben Bain, for example.
Maybe, yeah. It's possible.
You know? Like, or if, Arvell Reese, for whatever reason, Dennis Allen goes against the his kind of stereotype in terms of kind of build that he normally has, but
That guy's a stud, dude.
he is. I don't think he's quite like Myles Garrett, like, Nick
He's
Bosa.
more of a little hybrid.
Like, he's a guy, don't get me wrong, he's going to be a productive pass rusher. Aiden Hutchinson's another name that was taken high. But I think he'll be double-digit sack potential, like.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Jarek, I don't even think we've read the super chat. Says, just curious, do you think this is Poles' worst draft class? We only have 2 guys from it, and they just started getting targets.
I mean,
Technically, you play 3.
Monungai in the 7th plays a lot. I mean, he's going to end up with probably like 700 or 800 rushing yards. That's a really good pick in the 7th. I thought Shamar Turner was starting to make some plays. Then he pops the knee, so that was a bummer. I don't think the Ozzie Trapillo thing is like – I think the jury's very much out there. I think Ben's done a good job of finding a role for him, like 10 snaps a game, 6th offensive lineman. But listen, too, like if Colston and Luther are awesome and what's his name in the 7th is just like a good player,
Yeah.
that's 3 hits in a draft. I mean, that's kind of like that's a good draft. Now, you don't want to go 1 for 3 in the 2nd round, so can one of the other 2 guys at least be solid? I think that's certainly on the table. I'll say this. It looks a lot better now than it did October 1st.
Agreed.
So.
And it's not by any means, finished in terms of like, hey, this is who they're going to be for the rest of their careers by any means. But to your point, you're having, 4 top 50, top 60 picks or whatever.
I think it ended up being 62.
Okay, so 4 top, 65 picks, and right now 2 of them, 2 out of 4, right? But the other 2, like you said, one's, to your point, at this point, a potential 6th offensive lineman, the other one's hurt. Obviously, you can't control the hurt, but he wasn't really contributing as much. That kind of does need to change a little bit because...
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the Ozzie thing... I think he is probably the X factor. If he becomes a starter on this team and at least is solid, then I think you're feeling good about this draft because Colston and Luther are good players. I think that's clear. Now, Luther's role is still evolving. Loveland, I have 0 doubts about him as a player. We'll see what the stats end up at the end of this. He is a 3-down modern day tight end.
Stud.
Just a really good player. Luther is a very dynamic player who we'll see how good he becomes. At minimum, he's a guy who over the course of the season can change games for you. I think that's the floor. The ceiling is he could be a number 1 receiver on a team. I really do think that. And then that's where Ozzie's kind of the wild card. To me, Shamar Turner is he probably just like a rotation defensive lineman, versatile piece that can play inside and out. How does he recover from the ACL? We'll find out on that. But if Trapillo hits and it's just like a league average tackle, you go 3 for 4 in those picks. Like, sure. I think that's pretty good.
If Shamar Turner,
and if Turner's just not a complete flop, I think he was starting to show, okay, he can at least get on the field and set the edge. He was setting the edge in the run game. At the defensive end position. So,
yeah,
you were hoping for more, but
he is one of your future pieces on the defensive line. I will say this, speaking to Luther, they obviously, gave him more snaps this past week over Olamide Zaccheaus. I think that will continue. I want to see some more manufactured targets for Luther Burden. I understand that he had the drop, and that's something you obviously don't love to see from any receiver, much less a rookie, but I'm very much of like, okay, Ben, you've said it all season. I'll just kind of reiterate it. Your 3 in terms of, young trio of playmakers that you need to really like build around are Rome Odunze, Colston Loveland, and Luther Burden.
Mm-hmm.
Rome Odunze's been featured in this offense. Colston Loveland, you're starting to see more featured in this offense. Luther Burden, to your point, at his peak, because he at one point was looked at as a first-round talent in this past draft.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get him featured and get those 3 guys kind of humming here as you get into the, tail end of your schedule, that's going to be more beneficial for you as you get closer to the potential playoff.
Well, and it's also like they were running that jet sweep to Zacchaeus some earlier in the year. Give Luther one of those a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you give him 5 of those the rest of the season, I bet one of those is going to pop for a 20-plus yard game.
I would agree.
Throw him a couple screens a game.
Yep.
Find a package where you can line them up in the backfield. Kind of like that what they've done with DJ. I don't want to necessarily hand him the football, but like run a Texas route out of the backfield with him. Get him on a linebacker.
Can you just give him one of those stop routes that Zacchaeus has run so many times this season? Even that, it's like you're getting the ball in his hands quick.
Get him a choice route. Now, maybe those option routes, those take time to build chemistry with the quarterback. I think that's why they trust Zacchaeus in that type of role better. But, like, I still think they can get more out of Burton. And hopefully that ends up happening. TJ, what should be the goal for the Bears for the rest of the season? I think the goal now is to make the playoffs. Is it a disappointment if you miss? Well, it depends how it looks, right? Depends how it happens. If they go 10-7 and they lose some tiebreaker and miss the playoffs, I don't think that's a disappointment. That means you won 3 more games, and other than Cleveland, there's no games on the schedule left where it's like they should absolutely no doubt win that game. Like even this week, Pittsburgh at home, I think all things equal, the Bears are a better team. Bears are decimated with injuries again. I mean, it's going to be tough to stop the run this week. So, yeah, I think the goal is the playoffs. Make the playoffs. I think anything beyond that would be icing on the cake. That's kind of where I'm at. If you can get to 10 wins, make the playoffs. Could be more, but like I'm hoping for postseason. So, Anthony, is there a world where Al Harris is our DC next year? I don't think so. I mean, why would you boot Dennis Allen out? I mean, is he getting a head coaching job? Are you firing Dennis Allen? I don't think so. Why would you fire Dennis Allen? You could give him, if Antoine Randall wasn't on the team, could you give Al Harris like assistant head coach title or something to try and keep him here? Maybe, but Dennis Allen's the DC moving forward, and he should be. All right, one more segment to go, and then we will get out of here. Aaron Rodgers. Bears fans have been tormented by this guy for almost 20 years. Can the Bears get the last laugh in what's likely the final game for him at Soldier Field? Let's talk about it here on Chicago Bears Now. It's time for the Chicago Bears to beat Aaron Rodgers once and for all. We're going to talk about this here on today's show. My name is Harrison Graham. Bears Steelers at Soldier Field on Sunday. Shout out to Bears Now, baby. You guys are bringing the heat in our Week 12 subscriber battle. 571 new subs this week. Steelers talk at 114. Let's drop the hammer on Jack Sperry and the boys. We win in the subscriber battle. Let's win on the field as well. Free and daily Bears content. With that being said, let's talk a little Rodgers. I'm Harrison Graham. It is time for the Bears to beat Aaron Rodgers. Whether or not he plays, that is still up in the air. This could be the last chance that the Bears have to beat him. Now, is there some crazy-ass scenario where they meet in the Super Bowl? I suppose, but that is obviously an extreme long shot. Now, Aaron Rodgers was asked about returning to Soldier Field this week, and here's what he had to say. He says, "There's incentives for every opponent, but I have enjoyed many Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays in that city. It's a great sports town with phenomenal sports fans. It's a great place to play. Bears-Packers," he later said, "is a great rivalry." I've kind of debated all week long. I've said, do I want him to play? Do I not? Do I really care? I think I've decided I want him to play and I want to beat him. This is probably the last time the Bears are going to play this guy. Don't get me wrong, it would suck if you lost again, but this guy has already dominated you. Give me another crack at beating him. Get the final laugh, at least for one Sunday, to beat this guy, because when he was in Green Bay, it was just an absolute bloodbath. I mean, the numbers are brutal. The record is brutal. Why not try to at least beat him for the 6th time in his career? I mean, don't you want to exercise those demons? That's what I want. That's what I want to see. I want the Bears to beat this guy and say, you know what? Yeah, he did own the Bears for almost 2 decades. We got to be honest about that. But at least you got the last laugh. At least you beat them. And by the way, if you beat them, that really hurts their playoff chances because the Ravens are coming in the AFC North. So that is what I am rooting for. I want him to be out there. I think he will be out there. We'll get into the latest injury situation with Rodgers in a second. But I've decided I want him to play in this game. What say you? Be honest. And it's okay if the answer is no. I totally understand that. Screw that. Give me Mason Rudolph. Totally understandable. Do you want Aaron Rodgers to play? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Aaron, we'll see you on Sunday, buddy. All right, Brooke Pryor, this is from Thursday's practice. We're filming this Thursday night, putting it out Friday morning. Aaron Rodgers was out at practice with his left wrist in some sort of a stabilizer. He took individual reps from the shotgun. There's video of him taking shotgun snaps. Now, when they went into full team drills, he was not getting work in. He was off to the side. That was Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. But you saw the film of him taking shotgun snaps. I just would be stunned if he didn't play. Now, he's got to prove to Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith, and the medical staff, can he be functional? Can he handle enough under center snaps? If he can't, is it worth playing and utilizing pistol? That's something Aaron mentioned that they've done as a workaround in the past when he's dealt with injuries. He's got to be able to handle and grip the football at least well enough to hand the ball off and those type of things with his offhand. And he's got to, most importantly, and he talked about this, it's not a pain tolerance issue, it's a safety issue. Can he absorb contact? Like, is there risk of major further injury? If there is, then they might have to hold him out a week. But with him already getting some work in on Thursday, I just think he's going to be out there. Now, as far as this season goes, the raw numbers actually look pretty solid. And I would say until the last 2 or 3 weeks, he has actually been pretty solid. Now, he has not been as good the last couple of weeks. Jack Sperry mentioned on our joint preview, our Steelers talk host here at Chat Sports, that he did jam a finger in a game a few weeks ago and has not played as well since. Has that played a role? I'm not really sure. All of that being said, I want him out there, and I'd be shocked if he wasn't. I mean, you're telling me Aaron Rodgers isn't going to suit up. And by the way, if you're the Steelers and if you're Rodgers, even if it's not like full throttle, like you could always just start him, and if his limitations are hurting them, you just pull him. Put Mason Rudolph in. Right? Like, that seems like an easy decision. They have 3 quarterbacks with Will Howard available. They could just make him active if they need to and not the emergency third-string guy. They could just have all 3 active if they want to. So I think that's probably the route they go. I think Rodgers plays. Whether or not he finishes, we'll find out. But I want him out there, and I want to beat his ass. All right, Bears keys to beating Rodgers and the Steelers coming up here in just a little bit. But first, we got to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor. That is Ethos. Life insurance is one of the most important investments you can make in your family. Now with Ethos, you can get covered and protected in minutes with rates as low as $2 per day, billed monthly. You can also get up to $3 million in coverage. As a dad, as a husband, having life insurance is vital, and it's something I don't take for granted. Ethos is revolutionizing the insurance industry with a 100% online process and could provide protection for you and your loved ones. Ethos is an online platform that makes getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. They have no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. You can even get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. 3 million families have completed their applications and trusted Ethos to help find the right coverage. They have a 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 2,400 reviews. Don't wait any longer. Ethos is as good as it gets. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get up to $3 million in coverage in as little as 10 minutes at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That is ethos.com/NFL Daily. You get a free quote. Application times may vary. Rates may vary as well. All right, some keys to victory. Stop the run first. Stop the run first. Now, this could be a challenge. The Bears, as of Thursday's injury report, top 3 linebackers did not practice. I am not super optimistic there. And the Steelers already play heavy personnel a lot. 12 personnel. They'll bring in an extra offensive lineman. They like to get Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell going, and especially with either a potentially limited Aaron Rodgers or Mason Rudolph, they're going to want to run the football even more so because of that. So the combination of the Bears' linebacker personnel being thin and the quarterback concerns and just their style in general, they're going to want to run the football. And if I'm Arthur Smith, I'm playing heavy personnel early and often. I'm running the ball, and if the Bears can't stop it, I'm not stopping it until they can prove they can stop it. So that would be my guess. So if you're Dennis Allen, you got to find a way to at least slow this Steelers rushing attack down. Offensively, attack the middle of the field. Caleb Williams is very comfortable throwing in those intermediate, 15 to 25 yard in breaking routes. You've seen it a lot recently. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Colston Loveland, I think could be an X factor in this game, especially on those Steelers linebackers who are kind of hit and miss in coverage. Peyton Wilson in company. So I think that's an area to attack. If you are Ben Johnson, if you are Caleb Williams, he loves attacking the middle of the field. I think that is where Caleb's at his best right now, is especially off of play action, those play action, middle of the field shots. I think that's a really good piece of Caleb's arsenal at this point in his career. Number 3, dial up the pressure. Whether it's Aaron Rodgers, who's banged up right now, whether it's Mason Rudolph, who does not move that well, seems like a pretty easy spot, especially if you have limited linebackers. Like, just bring them on pressures then. If they're going to struggle in coverage and run support, just dial up the pressure and make these quarterbacks make quick decisions. That is what I would do. I would not be surprised if Dennis Allen turned up the heat in this football game and kind of took his chances knowing that this linebacker core is going to have limitations. And then lastly, before we get to a theme here, which I forgot to include, I'll just verbalize it. Go after Darius Slay. So James Pierre has been filling in for Slay, who's had a concussion, has played pretty well. But Mike Tomlin said that Slay is going to step back in this week into the lineup. He's going to lean on the veteran here. He has not been good in coverage. This is his last season. You kind of see this with aging corners a lot. Once they lose it, it's hard to get back. Now, is he fully washed? I don't know if 7-8 games or whatever he's played is a fair enough sample size for that, but he's given up 75% completion percentage, a QB rating of 108. He's got no takeaways, only 3 pass breakups on the year. So if you're Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Luther Burden, you get matched up with Slay, especially in a man coverage situation, that's got to be Ben Johnson to Caleb in the head, say, hey, well, let's see if something breaks here on Slay. Double moves. I think you could get him in this matchup. I think these receivers should win matchups one-on-one against Darius Slay. Now, the Steelers have done a little bit more zone coverage recently, moving Jalen Ramsey to that safety position. So maybe they shadow over the top on Slay's side. We'll have to wait and see. But I think that's a matchup to exploit. And clearly the theme of the week is just FAR, F Aaron Rodgers. Beat this guy. Let's make it happen. All right, predict the score. Bears, Steelers. Who you got? What is the final score going to be? And perhaps the last matchup where Aaron Rodgers visits Soldier Field. I'm going Bears 24-21. You might need more points than this if the linebacker play is really struggling for the Bears and you can't stop the run. But I think the Cardiac Bears are going to find a way. I think they're going to grind this one out and get it done. I think they'll find success on the ground and setting up play action off of it. I've got the Bears winning a tight one at Soldier Field and beating the bad man that is Aaron Rodgers by 3 points. And then you head to Philadelphia, 8-3, with a chance to leapfrog the Eagles in the NFC playoff picture. What a story that would be. All right. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Chicago Bears Now. Aaron, if you're watching, I hope we see you on the field on Sunday. I'm guessing we will, and hopefully the Bears get the job done. Bear down. All right, Daniel, Max Crosby needs to pull an Andre Dawson and move to Chicago. I would love Crosby on this team, man. I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but I think he'd be awesome on this team. I think he'd be really, really good. Daily basis, I want him to play, and I hope C.J. Gardner-Johnson forces a fumble. Love it, daily basis. That'd be awesome.
We'll see if it happens. We got Crisis King seeing both T.J. Edwards and Tremaine Edmunds on DNP for 2 days in a row is concerning, but seeing Jaylon Johnson and Kyler Gordon both limited and full brings hope, but still doubting their return bear down.
To be clear, Jaylon is the one who's full, so I agree. I'd be shocked if Kyler returned. I'd still be relatively surprised if Jaylon did. But if he's full again tomorrow, maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance. I did have someone tell me that he's pushing to play. So, we'll see. That'll come down to the medical staff, Jaylon, and, Ben and Dennis to make the right decision. So, if he plays, maybe he's on a pitch count. That could be a way to kind of ease him back because then you got the short week against Philadelphia. So, these are all factors that have to go into these decisions. Fernie, saw Grady film from Sunday. Man, safe to say that knee is fully healed. If not, very close because he was dominant. It was his best game of the year. I think he had 4 pressures. He had the QB hit on that McCarthy interception. Yeah, he looks healthy. I don't think you're getting consistently dominant Grady Jarrett that you saw in his prime in Atlanta, but I thought that was the first game where it's like, okay, he's worth his contract today. Like, he played really, really well. Now, I've said for weeks, even if he's overpaid from a production standpoint, I think from an intangible standpoint, he's still valuable to have here. But for 1 week, he lived up to his contract and played really, really well. They're going to need him to play well this week because, again, the linebacker play, you could be dealing with like a DeMarco Jackson, Eamon Ogbongbemiga, Ruben Hippolyte situation. So we'll see how they mix and match there. But Dennis Allen's been pretty creative making it work in the secondary. We'll see if he can do it at linebacker. All right, Cullen, any final words before we sign off?
Well, we're at the end of the show, so I can say it. Fuck Aaron Rodgers.
Boom!
Let's go Bears.
All right, he said it best. F-A-R and F the Steelers this week. If there's big updates on Friday, we will hit you guys with the video. We have other content going out on the channel as well, so be sure to tune in for that. And on Sunday, noon Central, we'll be live at 10:45 a.m. Central for our long pregame show. And if you missed it, Week 14 against the Packers flexed to 325. Bears playing in some big games, baby, down the stretch. Here we go. Bear down.